Reinventioning can be a lonely process, but you don't have to be alone. I'll let you know in this video how to deal when you're feeling excluded in your reinventing process. How's it going? My name is Amelia Sims. This is Reinventing You, the channel where you can be inspired to take your own reinventing journey so that you can live a life of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. I post twice a week. If you haven't, please subscribe today and don't forget to click on the bell so that you can be notified when I post new videos. I'm going through a reinventing process myself. I retired from the ministry almost 2 years ago. And when I did that, I noticed a couple things. First of all, a lot of people, specifically clergy women, had a really hard time with the fact that I was retiring early. I think they kind of felt like maybe they were being abandoned or something, but I had my own issues that I had to deal with. But what I also noticed was that I felt excluded. That is, I felt like they after that left me out. Nobody really, except for maybe 2 or 3 people, called me or checked on me or texted me or emailed me or Facebook messaged me and said, "Hey, Amelia, what's going on? Why did you retire early?" Or, "Hey, I'm hearing something about reinventing yourself. What's that all about? Oh, you started a YouTube channel. Tell me more about it." I mean, I haven't gotten any of that kind of thing. And so I've just felt very excluded. I was like, oh, I was in this special club and all of a sudden I'm not anymore. I'm doing something new with my life and apparently I don't fit in with anything else anybody else is doing. Now what? Well, I have to say this is not high school, people. So there's a part of me that just says you need to get over it. If you are 50 or over, you've had enough times in your life when you've been left out of things and your life goes on, you go on. And it's not a big deal. But yeah, it can be a big deal. So I get it. Just this last time when I talked to my coach, she asked me about reinventing my friendships, strengthening my friendships. She said, you've talked about a lot of things. You've talked about your finances. You've talked about your job, your career, what you're doing. You've talked about your health, all of these things, but you haven't really talked about your friends. So I know that is one of the things that I need to renew in my own life. And when I thought about it, I realized how lonely reinventing yourself can be. For one thing, you're working on yourself. You're not doing a group project. It's not necessarily a group thing. I mean, it could be if you're trying to renew your friendships and that's your major goal, but most of the time, everything you're doing is simply about you or maybe somebody close to you, like a partner or spouse or other loved one. So what can you do? It all goes back to Brene and a 1-inch square piece of paper. I've talked about this before, especially in my videos about nosy people, and I have some of those up here if you want to see those videos. I talk about this 1-inch square piece of paper because I think it is so essential. Brene Brown talks about this in, I know, one of her videos. I don't think it's in any of her books. But when you're in the arena, that's what she calls it, when you're struggling with your stuff, when you're fighting your own battles, what happens when you have people who formerly were close or you thought they had your back and they're just being very critical or they're being very nosy or they're asking you questions that they have no business knowing the answers to? How do you handle that? And she says, well, it goes back to the people who really have your back, who are really in your corner. And she said, you can find those people on your 1-inch square piece of paper. Brene Brown does this. She has a literally 1-inch square piece of paper. She's written down some names. She keeps it in her wallet. You could keep yours behind your phone, your cell phone case, or maybe, I'm trying to think where else, a piece of jewelry, maybe you can slip it in that you wear all the time, a locket or something. But these are the people who are going to have your back. These are the people who are not going to exclude you. They're going to include you. Even if they give you some constructive criticism or they give you some advice that you need to hear, you know that they're going to support you. If you don't take their advice, they're not going to abandon you. If you don't do everything they think you should do, they're not going to exclude you. They're going to help you and pick you up if you fall. They're going to be with you if you fail. They're going to have your back against all those other people and voices who are saying negative things about you. I can't remember if she recommended how many people, but I would say no more than 8 and at least 4. You need to have that 1-inch square piece of paper. All you have to do is take a piece of paper, measure it into 1-inch square. I mean, if it's not exactly, that's okay. But then you write down their names. You write down the 4 to 8 people whose opinion really counts, that got your back, that they're going to be there for you no matter what. They're your support system, and carry it around with you. I've had to renew my 1-inch square piece of paper several times because I keep it in my change part of my wallet, and it gets, eventually gets kind of dirty and kind of get worn. Those are sort of my essential people. My challenge for you today is to go right now, unless you're driving or something like that, and make a 1-inch square piece of paper and write those names down. You might try 1 or 2 names and then add some later. That's fine. Carry it with you wherever you go so that you know who has your back. You know who will keep you included and not excluded. And when you feel excluded from others, you can go and look at that list of names and say, okay, these are the people that really matter, not those other folks. It could be that one of those people maybe abandons you or excludes you or ghosts you, and you're like, okay, what happened here? Please do not go to that person and demand to know what happened to you. You abandoned me in my hour of need. Something like that. That's not what you need to do, but you do need to go and communicate with them. Hey, what's going on? You don't know. Maybe they're going through the same kind of thing. Maybe they're reinventing themselves. Maybe they're going through a tough time that they just didn't feel like they could share with you right now. Or maybe they're going through something really positive in their lives and they look at you and they're thinking, man, you're really struggling right now. I don't know if I can share all this positivity with somebody who's going through something that I don't really understand. Who knows? Or it could be just somebody you really need to take off your 1-inch square piece of paper because they really don't have your back. And that's okay as well. If you got to erase somebody off, that's fine. I think as long as you have at least 4 people, then that is the best. Speaking of people in your corner, and they don't have to be on your 1-inch square piece of paper, but did you know that there is a Reinventing You private Facebook group? You can join that. The link is below. Click on that and make sure you answer all the questions so I don't think you're a robot. Be sure and be a part of that group. Don't forget to check out these videos, especially the one on reinventing your space and also the one on reinventing yourself after age 50. Have a great one.